the child might show a catch up later on. So you give that child that period or window to improve, and children do improve a lot. So we just say that in the early years, you define it as developmental delay. Whereas after around 6 years of age, when you expect most of the motor development, most of the basic learning skills to have happened, even the adaptive skills like the self-help skills, toilet training, eating on own, dressing, all of it mostly comes by around 6 years of age. So by that time, you are in a fairly good assessment of the child to say whether how delayed the child is and whether the cognition or understanding is slower for the child's age. So when you label as intellectual disability or define intellectual disability, you say that the understanding or the functioning or the intelligence of the child is significantly low. That is, you can say 2 standard deviations is what we usually say. That means if a child is able to function at first standard when he's at fourth or third grade, then probably and you have eliminated all other causes of like lack of basic skills, his social problems, etc. So that is approximately how we chart. So that comes at around 70%. So if you're able to perform below 70% of what is expected for your age, then you have intellectual disability.
Right.
I hope
So
that.
one of the things you mentioned was that if a child is at grade 4, but performing at grade 1, and that is often how ID is sometimes explained to parents, but how parents might understand is ki, okay, he is 5 years, but his mental age is 3 years. So after 2 years, his mental age will be 5 years. But it's not how as linear as that. So
Yeah.
how can one convey or communicate the diagnosis in a way that it is not unrealistic, as well as there is no confusion about what one can expect?
Yes, so IQ is a percentage. Okay, so when you're saying 70%, then you have to go according to the person. So 2 years level of functioning at 4 years comes to 50%. So that means approximately the child will be functioning at 5 years when he's 10 years old. But that is just to say grossly. But whenever we are calculating the capacity or the functioning or the intellectual capacity of the child, it depends on a lot of different factors at that point of time. Okay, so any verbal child, so there are certain tests or intelligence tests which you need to perform depending on what is the knowledge of that child. Is the child verbal? Is the child able to understand? Is the child able to answer what you are asking, whether identifying colors, identifying body part? So whatever we expect a child to have developed at a certain age, if the child is not being taught, the child has not been exposed, the child has difficulty answering, the child has visual concerns, so it does not give you a very correct estimate of the capacity of the child. But at that point the child is here, okay, because the child has not been able to perform, okay, but it might change later. So you have to see the IQ not just in the context as a number, but it just gives you assessment of the child, and then you have to also understand what are the barriers to that child's learning and how we can improve this, and where do you expect to see the child go ahead.
Right. सो डॉक्टर इरावती, आपने आईक्यू टेस्ट की बात करी, और आईक्यू टेस्ट हम जानते हैं कि एक तरह का इंटेलिजेंस को टेस्ट करता है. इट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन लैंग्वेज प्रोफिशिएंसी एज वेल, बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ इट इज इन इंग्लिश. तो there are many other kinds of intelligence, right? There's emotional intelligence. One can be creative, one can have practical skills. So how should we communicate to parents to not get bogged down by an IQ score, but to look beyond that to see
Yes.
what their child's actual potential can be?
So, like I said, if a certain child is not able to verbalize or not able to answer, then there are some task-based tests like the puzzle or things like that, where you know assess the speed with which the child can analyze and put different forms, etc. So these are some tests which can be done, non-verbal tests. Some tests just assess the adaptive functioning and the social functioning of the child, where we say more of a SQ or a social quotient, which we take out, where the IQ is not possible. And the a little bit of higher level test where the child is able to perform, is has had the basic literacy skills. Then as the standards go up, you are able to get a better understanding and assess the memory part, the perception part, the attention. Everything has a part to play in that IQ test. So it is overall your verbal component, your performance, how you're doing, and a combination of those scores will give you the final IQ. So it depends on how the child is. We choose the test that the child will be able to perform, and that way we go ahead.
Right. This is also a good time to get a parent's perspective. So, Pragati, I'd like to ask you, when you first heard about the ID diagnosis, what did you make out of it? How did you start to make sense of, what it is beyond just a medical term? And how has your understanding of ID changed over the years? And if you were to describe it to parents, how would you do it?
Thank you, Smita. I'm myself Pragati, and the mother of Verejan. When I first heard about my child has a disability, my child is not a normal child, this is what I was told. And I was completely lost. I didn't know what she meant, what the doctor meant. And I was just trying to figure कि ये होता क्या है? Because till date, till the time I was told that, I never got to know what that meant. I never came across some child, some individual with an intellectual disability. And then suddenly it comes to me कि आपके बच्चे को तो disability है और intellectual disability है, तो समझ ही नहीं आया कि क्या है। और फिर मन में ये विचार आने लगे कि मतलब ये ऐसे ही रहेगी या फिर ये कभी कुछ समझ नहीं पाएगी। Has life come to a stop for her? So there were many such negative thoughts that came to my mind. But slowly, gradually, when as time passed, so I began to see that ID was not just a medical term, medical label. That was not defining my daughter in her entirety. It was just a part of her, and there was nothing to be scared of. She will definitely understand things. She will definitely have an understanding about her surrounding, but maybe a little late, and she will do it in a different manner and at her own pace. It is not that she will never understand things and life has come to stop. It was never like this. But then slowly and gradually, I got to know this. I started meeting people, I started intervening people in this journey. And there were a few people who really helped me a lot. When terms like occupational therapy came in and special education came in, it was all very, oh, those terms were so heavy for me, to understand. For me, it was a teacher. I never knew what is a special educator. And then we met, we went to a developmental pediatrician. We met, she told us about her developmental delays with her gross motors, fine motors, with her speech. Everything, when we gathered everything, when we met people, that was the time when I understood that it is not that bad. And honestly speaking, Smita, after a few days, like when I was, why me? Why my daughter? After a few days, when I got to know about things, I was like, I'm blessed to have Vedhi, and I'm grateful to the Lord to do that. So, over the years, definitely my understanding about intellectual disability has evolved from a fear to acceptance and acceptance to pride. So this was one thing I realized, that I don't want to curse. I don't want to talk negative about what is there, what is present. In fact, I started when I had initially, when I had met a special educator, I was told that whether he can never understand instructions in English, she has to attend a vernacular school because she only understands vernacular instructions. When I came back home, it really hit me. But then very soon, I I promised myself that my daughter is going to go to an English medium school. She is going to understand the instructions in English, and she's going to converse in English when she grows up. And I'm so glad I took up that as a challenge. And today she is here, who can very well understand what others are saying, who has her own views about things. And I'm glad she is where she is.
So wonderful to hear that. And when you spoke about, moving from acceptance to pride, I think everyone saw that huge smile on Vedahi's face, and how important that is to, help the child feel accepted, and in turn, aid their development and their ability to thrive and learn. So thank you so much for sharing that, Pragati. I think so important to not be bogged down by a label, not be bogged down by IQ scores. Look at them as individuals, and look at them as, where you'd like to support them, where you'd like to encourage them. Yeah, lovely. So whether ही हमने डॉक्टर से भी सुना कि आईडी क्या है, आपकी मम्मी ने भी बताया, आपसे हम सुनना चाहेंगे कि आईडी क्या नहीं है. What are some things that people get wrong about ID, and what do you wish that they understood better about ID?
Good afternoon. When people hear about the term intellectual disability, they think that the person cannot learn, can't think, or can't live independently. But that's not true. Intellectual disability doesn't mean a lack of ability. It means learning of and doing things differently and a different pace. Many people mistake it as a mental illness, but in reality, it is just one aspect of who they are. I wish more people understood.
Thank you. Very well said, Vedahi. And I hope that that educator who said that Vedahi can never learn English is somewhere here to see her talk so well in that.
I
Um,
wish she was attending this.
yeah.
That
So
children
what?
with
Yeah, go ahead.
that
Sorry.
children with ID have their own strengths and creativity, just like everyone else. They can learn, achieve, and contribute meaningfully if get the right support and opportunities.
Very well said, Vedahi. Thank you for that. And I think if we look at kind of close this section of trying to understand ID, so much of how parents approach it, how families approach it, is dependent on how it is communicated and understood. So if somebody says कि ये चीज कर नहीं सकता, इसका IQ इतना ही है, इसको समझ नहीं आएगा, understanding it like that versus understanding the way you all shared, that I will learn, but at my own pace and maybe differently. It's sets how you approach it, going forward as well. So, if it hadn't been the case for you all as families at the time that the diagnosis was communicated to you, hopefully this webinar clears it up for you, that that they can cope with challenges that they experience. So moving on to the next part of our discussion, we understood what ID is. The next, how can we support the child's development? How do we build the skills and confidence and independence that we would like, to have to see in our children? So, Dr. Iravati, once again, I'll direct the question to you. what should families focus on first when they get the diagnosis? What helps most in the initial years? Which therapies, which interventions? As Pragati shared, there are so many new terms that one has to, learn about. How do they know what is appropriate? एंड आपने शायद देखा होगा यहाँ पे फैमिलीज बहुत छोटे छोटे जगहों से भी ज्वाइन करी हैं, तो जहाँ पे ये सर्विसेज नहीं है, जहाँ पे ये थेरेपीज शायद कम है, तो व्हाट कैन फैमिलीज डू एट होम टू हेल्प सपोर्ट देयर चिल्ड्रन टुवर्ड्स एंड सपोर्ट देयर डेवलपमेंट?
you, Smita. So that is a very important question. So as you receive the diagnosis of any disability or delay, so naturally for parents, it's a, it's a tension, like they have so many questions in mind and medical terms different, exactly what is the problem, what do I need to do, when is this going to become, all good, and when is my child going back to his routine and normalcy. So first thing I would say that parents should be well informed about the diagnosis. Talk to your professional, talk to your doctor, try to understand exactly what the diagnosis means for that child. And also, what does the basic intervention that is required? Okay, so if, like we said, there are different domains which are affected. For example, a child who has cerebral palsy will need more of physical supports, physical therapy, along with other aspects. Like if the visual impairment is there, he needs to be trained for visual rehab therapy. For his hand function, you need to also work on the fine motor aspect. If his speech is affected but his understanding is good, you have to enhance his communication through using alternative or augmentative methods. So all these are things that a parent should, or any professional will focus on, is a overall holistic development of the child. Okay, so don't just focus on when the child is going to walk. It is important, but you should not, not look at the learning aspect or the social aspect or the confidence building aspect for that child. So that is one thing you need to do. Secondly, you have to understand what all therapies are for what. So what does occupation therapy mean? What is the occupation therapist going to work on? Okay. So in my child, what are the things that are there that needs to be, worked upon by a OTist? What are the things that the physiotherapist might do? And what is the speech aspect that has to be covered, which also includes the receptive speech, like understanding of speech is as or more important, I would say, than the expression. Okay. So don't just focus on when will my child say the word. For me, understanding speech, responding to speech, obeying commands, obeying instructions is more important probably than the child saying the first word, which the child eventually would if he is understanding speech. So, you have to really understand what are the things which are seen in my child, what work I need to do, and which is the professional, who is the professional who is going to help. And most important is that don't just rely completely on the professionals. They will do their part, but the most important thing that the parents need to do is to work on the child themselves. Okay. So I would say like 60% would be the parents' effort that they would put in. And of course, they will be guided along the way with the all the professionals will guide them. They have to go ask, learn more, read more about it, try to do different things at home, because the self-help skill aspect or the socialization aspect, etc., has to come from the parents' end also. So that is what I would have to say to the parents.
Right. So, doctor, with the example you gave was somebody with CP. So, just a follow-up question on that was, is that ID sometimes occurs with conditions like autism or Down syndrome or CP, and sometimes by itself, where there is no other co-occurring condition. So the interventions would vary based on, these different scenarios,
Yes,
support that a
definitely.
person. Okay.
Definitely. So for a child who has cerebral palsy, we need more of physical therapy. He will need more of the orthotics, like using the A4s or different medial insoles or walkers, so that you have to do everything that you can help to make the child walk. Okay, so whether he needs a surgery or he needs medication to loosen his muscles, along with the therapy and the supports. Okay, we need to see that the child is provided the optimal help so that he can achieve his milestone of walking. Okay, and all this has to go hand in hand. So you need a collaboration between the professionals, like a multidisciplinary approach where the orthopedic and the physiotherapist are in, and the neurologist, like what medication dose, when to plan the surgery, pre and post op, physiotherapy, everything. So that has to go hand in hand. Similarly, for that child, if the child is having speech concerns or unclear speech or difficulty in swallowing, lot of drooling, so he has to be worked on by a speech pathologist. And the parents have to, parents or the special educators or the school teachers probably need to collaborate to understand how to enhance the communication for this child, and accordingly learning also. So you have to go through everything, and it has to be a multidisciplinary approach. So it has to be different for autism, for intellectual disability. So it can be related to a birth insult, it could be related to genetic conditions like Down syndrome, it could be associated with epilepsy, or it could be seen with autism. Autism itself can come with different conditions hand in hand. So, understanding what we are working on and how one condition is affecting the other thing, how one domain is affecting the other domain, all this is important. So, ID can again be a part of everything. So, you have to work understanding the condition of the child. Are the behaviors disrupting his sitting? Are his sensory issues causing his behaviors? So all that has to be analyzed properly, and depending on that, you can plan your what therapy that the child needs.
Right. And you spoke about, most important is what the family can do at home. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on that, beyond just seeking and learning, from others? What else will work from somebody who
So
may not have that many resources?
So what you need is basically both the parents have to be together. If the extended family can also be part of it, it is more the better. People who understand and work with the child. At the home level, I always encourage the parents to work on the basic self-help skills, to involve the child in all the home chores, to be with the child, play with the child, just simple things. But many of the times, just playing simple ball, or just talking to the child while you're cooking, showing the child different things, making him experience some smell or taste or texture, and talking about that same thing, just enjoying together, so that making it a enjoyable, happy, playful environment and engaging environment. That is what needs to be done. Every time, you don't need very fancy toys or things like that, or you don't need to really reciprocate everything that is being done in the therapy sessions. You can do different things at the home level. Okay, you just don't need to the same puzzle, wo puzzle kiya, wo beads kiya. See, you have to enhance your hand function. You can might as well give the child some vegetable to peel or clothes to fold, or you teach him how to open and close the bottles, etc. So how to take water on his own, how to use a spoon, how to use a fork, how to put pins, how to put Velcro. So these are different things that you can do at home, because therapists can't usually come to your home and do that for you.
Right.
So functioning at the home level, home atmosphere has to be done by the parents.
Right.
Okay, so many of the times parents tell me, if the child is doing everything in the OT, but at home is not doing everything. he is
Hmm.
done not cooperating for the same. The child will also get tired and bored to do the same activities. Or if he is only focused to do in that structured environment, what he should learn things at home also. So need not be the same puzzle he has to do at home, but you can do many different activities, watering the plants, arranging the utensils. It can be anything. So parents need to understand that, and gradually they should have some goal in their mind that these are the few things I need to work on, like simple toilet training, etc. has to be worked on. So parents are very sometimes focused on learning ABC colors, but they are not, focusing on their toilet training and simple activities, which they need to also improve.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing such simple examples, easy to do, which anyone can do at home, but how impactful they can also be beyond what we do in therapies. Um, so, this is a good time to ask the parent here what they did. And Pragati, we'd really like to understand how, perhaps with some of the examples that doctor shared, how did you support, how did you begin to start teaching Vaidehi and help her development, help her gain skills and independence?
Susmita, Vaidehi had, since she was intellectually disabled, there were other areas which were affected, like her speech and like her fine gross motors. So fine gross motors, it was very difficult for her grip. She was like, she could hold things in her hand, in her palm like this, but she couldn't hold a pencil, and which affected her handwriting at school and things like coloring and drawing and all those things. So, and for speech, I had approached the occupational therapist as well as a speech therapist and worked at home with her to improve on her speech. So we had a few exercises, and I used to make her knead the dough, which used to give her strength on her fingers. And we used to make her, she had difficulty in tying shoelaces. It was very difficult for her to hold the lace and understanding the whole process of tying the lace. So we used to do that on I used to make that on a cardboard kind of thing, put a lace into it, make punch holes, put a lace into it, and try to make her, because wearing a shoe and then doing it all by herself was difficult for her. So then this is what we used to do at home. There are many other things. When we used to be at the park, we used to make sure that she is playing on the sand, which would help her for her finger fine motor skills. So there were many other, like many things, such small things at home. We used to give her different kind of pulses and ask her to separate them, like, take it in, just take it in her, pick it up with her fingers and then separate them. Her hand-eye coordination was also low. So like playing, we used to, at home, we used to play, just throw, catch the ball, or simple cricket at home, where she can understand where she has to throw the ball, she could draw that timing of catching the ball, or maybe throw a batting, like, I
Yeah,
mean, just touch the ball with the bat.
sure.
So these were very small and a very playful ways where she was taught at home. And my family was very supportive. I was in a huge family of 15 plus members. And so everybody was, it was not only me who was engaged with her. Each and everyone played their part, and playfully we taught her a lot of things at home, because it is not possible for a teacher or any special educator to teach these things at school. They have other things to be taken care of, more of academics, but certain things we did at home on a regular basis. And one thing to be really taken care of is you have to be very regular with whatever you're teaching them at home or at school. Regularity is the key for them, because retention is a problem. Retention for a long term becomes an issue. They cannot retain things learned or done unless they practice it on a regular basis.
Right. So thank you for sharing. I think जो examples doctor ने भी बताए और प्रगति जी ने बताए, they are so simple. So anybody can do it at home and shouldn't feel that they are, that they don't have resources in their city and, that they are lacking in any way. Children learn through play, I think, in the best possible way. So to kind of leverage that as well. And like Pragati mentioned, consistency is the key. Don't give up. Keep trying, and that will obviously build the skill even better. So, whether he question to you, when you were growing up, do you remember what helped you in learning new things in school or at home, anywhere? And what are some things you remember learning that you felt very proud about?
At school, it was my friends and teachers who helped me learn new things. At in home, it was my family and especially my mother who made me learn basic ADL activities and routine tasks. I was really proud of when I used to travel independently from home to school. It was from Tandivali to Breach Tandi. So
Yeah, that's
taking
a long way. For
I
those of you who are
used to
not from Bombay, that's a very long distance.
I used to take all modes of public transport.
Yeah, great. Wonderful to hear that. And obviously your mom taught you, but you were able to do that independently. That's amazing. So whether you talked about school, and I think schooling and education, that is a very big worry for a lot of families, a very big question mark. क्या होगा इस phase में? तो यहाँ पे I'll ask Dr. Iravati again. So parents often wonder what school is right for my child. Should they go to a mainstream school? Should they go to a special school, home school, no school? So what factors should they consider when deciding, the best school environment or the best education environment for their child? And beyond just deciding the school, is there anything else they should be looking for in in the school environment?
Yeah. So there is no right or wrong. These are two different things. So in a inclusive school setup or a regular school where they provide accommodations or support for children who need some extra support or with children with special needs. So they try to make a few accommodations in their regular school setup and to see that all the children are integrated under one roof, all the children are learning together, and they try to make their learning processes in such a way that children with varying learning needs are or should also be accommodated. They might have a special educator support, and hopefully down the line we hope that more and more regular teachers are also trained to identify what are the different supports that a child needs and his learning capacity and the way the child will learn better, whether it could be through visual inputs, whether it could be through projects, through group activities, etc. So it could be different for every child. So it has to be a little more flexible and a little more adaptable for that particular child in keeping him in the same classroom as all children. Okay, so that is what inclusion means. Whereas when we look at special schools, they are more tailored uh, to provide support for children with probably greater needs. Okay, so they are separate schools which are specially designed and they more structure, and they have special educators who are better equipped to identify the children's needs. So hopefully, I would say in the pre-primary, we would still want the children to be in a inclusive school setup where they are in a play group, nursery, junior. They are still learning the early foundational skills, be it social skills, be it academic skills, be it speech, movement, everything. Because in the first 6 years, like you said, the children are still learning. So we would ideally think that even if a child is being supported by therapy, he should be in a mainstream school, and the school should be hopefully down the line more and more schools will have that setup, or teachers who are trained to really teach all different children from all different strata or learning capacities. Later on, depending on what is the, like you said, the intellectual functioning, or how much support that the child needs for his academics, depending on, we will have to choose the schooling. Okay, so if it is a slow learner, definitely with the accommodations provided by the school or the boards, etc., the child will be able to cope in that curriculum. So the curriculum also has to be flexible to a point where it can accommodate that child. Okay, if the needs of the child are more, and we are looking at a more level of support, or a more specialized type of support, where we are, academics is probably very low at that point of time. So then we might choose a special school setup. But saying that we send to a special school, also it needs to be a school where it has a proper curriculum, proper IP, and the IP implementation also should be done properly. So the special school also has to have proper structure, proper classrooms, and to cater to different children needs. So I think parents have to really find out what is there. They need to ask the school what are the different available supports for their child. They need to be open about it, and how accepting the school is towards their child, and how they will be able to support. So all this research that parents have to do, they have to be a little proactive, they have to advocate for their child, and then I think the change will happen, hopefully.
Right. So what I hear you say is that in the primary years, they should go to a regular school as with other children, and then you see how they are progressing to see which is a better supporting environment for them. Understood. So Pragati, again, I'd like to get you in over here. And I know you had shared that whether he has gone to a mainstream school also and a special school also. So can you share your experience of each? And if what would you advise to parents who are trying to decide what schooling is right for their child?
Vaidehi started her journey from a mainstream school. And though she was under a special educator in the mainstream school, and she learned a lot during that phase of her schooling. And later, when she was, because the school could not continue with her higher education, we had to move her to a special school. And Vaidehi was lucky enough to get through admissions in SPJ Sadhana, Mumbai. And that was the right time for her to get into a vocational course, because it was difficult for her, it was getting difficult for her to continue with the mainstream schooling and the mainstream curriculum. So when she got into the vocational training, because it was tailored, and because she was functioning to the extent that she was able to grasp things there, and it was based on her pace, so she was able to do a lot of she was able to uh, learn a lot in that vocational course. So as Dr. Ravati said, that we have to look for the needs of the child. If the child is high functioning, they might continue with the mainstream schooling with inclusions. And if not, then we have to definitely give them a safe environment and the curriculum or the tasks where they are comfortable to perform, and their which does not affect their confidence and their self-esteem. Because self-esteem and confidence, uh, things which parents might ignore, but it really plays a big role unless and until your child is interested in what the child is doing. The child will not come up with the results. And then it is difficult for us, for parents, for the child also to learn or to upgrade their levels.
Right. So, Pragati, you brought out two very important points. I think first you said that special schools का एक advantage जो है वो vocational courses offer करते हैं, a lot of them. So that can become a skill that can be used even beyond schooling, right? So that is one advantage that special schools might have. You mentioned about giving the children a safe environment. That is what also special schools can offer. And I think whatever you said hopefully tells parents to, or sometimes parents have this stigma around special schools ki as far as possible I would like to put my child through mainstream schools, but you brought out the element of self esteem, and if that is not the right place for him, there is absolutely no you shouldn't hesitate to put a child in a special school where they may be better served for their needs. um, and
If uh,
yeah, you wanted to add?
yeah, if I can just talk about an instance with Vaidehi. When she was in a mainstream school in Kolkata, they were young. They were all in, I think, fourth grade or fifth grade. And yes, obviously, girls and at that age, every child at that age has a lot of mischievous minds. And so there was one instance when she was in that class, and one girl just came up to her. She was a friend in the class, and she just told her that. Why don't you just put your legs outside the window and jump? And that was, I was unaware of all this. I got to know about all this only when she came home and she narrated the story to me. But when she told me that, my friend came and told me that, why don't you just put your legs outside the window and jump? And my daughter, I don't know, I was so glad that she showed wisdom that time. She exhibited her wisdom and she said that, oh, I'm not a fool to do that. I'm not going to jump out of the window. What if I get hurt? And that was obviously the issue was taken up to the teacher, and they did take care about it later. But for the moment, when I got to know about it, I was really worried as a mother. What if she would have done that? That was very scary. So when I think there are children, obviously even that girl would not have done anything purposely. She was also just maybe just talking or just telling her to do things which normally children do. So when she came, and that was the time when I really got a little worried. What if this is not safe? So when she is with people, such children around who are not to that level, I think there is a little quotient of safety matters. And obviously, when she had come to SPJ Sadhana School, which was for a vocational course, she was grown up by then. But then the thing what I felt is that she was surrounded by like-minded people. That also made a difference. At that age, when she had also grown up with a proper understanding of certain things, and the surrounding, the ambience that she was in was with children of almost what she had in her mind. So that helped her a lot to understand things, and to understand the right and wrong things, what she has to do and not.
Right.
So,
Thank you for
Smita, one
sharing
more
that.
thing I want to say, like for special school, there is this many a times like the
So I felt
stigma.
I feel personally,
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So parents feel that, they will get segregated. But I want to say that even though the child has got a good special school, which is enhancing the child's overall capacity, learning, giving him a overall development progression, then it is the parents also initiative to see that the child gets socially also well integrated. Yes, the school is another aspect, because inclusive schooling, you get a more of a social inclusion in where we want them to be equal and together with all the other kids, which doesn't happen in a special school. But if they are getting their learning over there, the parents have to see that otherwise in their neighborhood, etc., they are able to socially integrate the children and enroll them in all the other activities, whether it be family functions, society functions, taking them out, etc.
Thanks for bringing that point out, because sometimes parents feel कि अगर वो special school जाएगा तो फिर वो बाकी बच्चों से नहीं, he won't get to interact with others. But that can happen outside of school, in society functions, in your family, in your, classes
Yeah.
and hobbies that you do. So thank you for bringing that out. Very
And
question to you about school. Yeah,
aware of
sorry.
curriculum that are, like you said, for the homeschooling also.
Yes.
So they should be aware of all the Pratham grade or the NIOS. So they should be aware, they should keep in touch with the other parents, what all is going on in this field, what different people are doing, what is available for the kids. They should be, and
Right.
now it's so easy on the social media, you can find out. So they should avail of all the things which they feel are good for their child.
Yeah. As doctor said, there are many options now for different education paths that you can take up, and iOS being one of them. Whether talking about school, uh, do you what do you think? Which friends or which teachers helped in making school life more enjoyable for you? How did they do it?
Started in a mainstream school. It was Sushila Birla Girls School in Kolkata. For many years, there I was under a special educator whose name was Mrs. Shashwati Roy ma'am. There were other teachers also like Ruma ma'am and Poonam ma'am who helped me a lot in studying and learning new things. When I was in SPJ Sadhana school, teachers were like Parul Modi ma'am, Jasmine ma'am, and Kashmira ma'am were, were a few who took great care of me under Parul Modi ma'am's guidance. I could finish a 2-year advanced course in motion graphics and 2D animation. Rajashri ma'am, our sports teacher, trained us and took us to Pondicherry to play basketball for Special Olympics. My friends were like Mama, Gaurav, Rumil, Aryaman, Chiddan, Michael, Vedant were the ones who made school a fun place for me.
Great. Lovely to hear that you had supportive teachers and a wonderful bunch of friends as well. So moving on to, we've spoken about building skills, building confidence, independence. Another part of, this topic that we've taken up today is, there is development, but we also need to support people with ID, with dignity. And Pragati, you touched upon that when you talked about the self esteem aspect. So firstly, to just address one of the things that maybe it's clear for some but not for many. The term we use is now intellectual disability and not mental retardation. So that term is out of date, it is disrespectful, not used. And if anyone is using that, please push back and say that that's not a respectful term, that is no longer used. So terminologies matter, words matter. We should, advocate for that when we, come across the wrong use of that mental retardation word. Um, so, whether do you, I think when we talk about dignity, we also should, factor into this that children will grow up into adults and they have their own feelings, they have their own opinions. And of course, as parents, sometimes we continue to see them as children, or as people around them, we think of them as, individuals who can't do anything. So, we talk down to them sometimes as children. So here I'd like to begin the conversation with Vedehi. So do you feel that sometimes people treat you like a child, even though you're now quite grown up? And what do you think they should do differently to make you feel more respected, more included?
Yes, sometimes I do feel that people talk down to me. They think that I don't understand things. They think I am still small. They they forget that I am grown up. I might take more time to understand or do something, but that doesn't mean I can't understand or do. People need to be patient with me and give me a chance. I wish that people talk to me the same way as they talk to others.
Thanks, Vedehi. So let me ask your mother
I
here. Oh, sorry, you're going on, you have more to share? Okay.
I feel respected and included, confident and proud of myself when people listen to me, take my opinions and let me make my choices.
So important, yeah. And I'm sure your mother does that. But I'd like to ask you, Pragati, uh, as parents, we always see our children as children, but they are now an adult. So how did you shift your own way of relating to, a child who needs to be cared for, to an adult who has their own, feelings and opinions that, whether he's shared. So what helped you make that change?
There was only one thing which I've always had on my mind. Today I am there for her, tomorrow I won't be there for her. And this is the time when I need to teach her to be independent. I did, yes, when she was a child, I had to do things for her. And with every little thing, every task that was at home, at school, everything. But there is a time when you know that now you need to fade. You cannot keep protecting her. You cannot keep helping her throughout. Because unless and until you fade away from the scene, she will never, or your child will never, ever try to learn. And if they don't learn, they will not have that confidence in themselves that they can do things all by themselves. You have to fade away. And this is what I started doing. Especially when she was in her vocational course at SPJ Sadhana School. I'm just giving you an instance here. When she was continuing with her vocational course in that school, in the mid of those years, I planned to join a special education course in B.Ed in special education, which was at Santa Cruz. She was traveling all the way from Kandivali to Breach Candy for her school. Before that, I was taking her. I used to wait outside the school for 6 hours. She used to be in the school for 6 hours, and we used to come back home in the evening. And it was a 4 hour travel time throughout the day, 2 hours going, 2 hours coming back home. So this was the time when I thought that if I want to do this course, I will have to I will have to make her to travel alone. Because if I have to take her and bring her back home, I won't be able to join the course. And that is when I decided I will leave her. I will allow her to travel alone. I will definitely keep a check on it until I'm sure that yes, she can travel. And then when I'm satisfied. I'm contented that she can do this herself. It will become easier for me to do what I want to do. So it was not that अब इसके साथ ये प्रॉब्लम है या इसको ये सब इसके लिए ये सब करना पड़ रहा है तो मैं अपनी अपनी चीज कुछ नहीं कर पाऊंगी, वो मैंने कभी नहीं सोचा और ना मैंने अपने आप के साथ वो होने दिया। सो मैंने क्या किया, इसको ट्रैवल करना सिखाया, बिट बाय बिट, छोटी इंस्टॉलमेंट्स में इसको ट्रैवल करना सिखाया। जब इसने ट्रैवल करना सीख लिया तब मैंने अपनी तैयारी शुरू की। सो देर इज अ टाइम व्हेन यू हैव टू फेड अवे आज, बिकॉज जितना आप इनको सपोर्ट करोगे, आप सपोर्ट करेंगे, आप हेल्प करेंगे, बट उस हेल्प का भी थोड़ा कम होना डे बाय डे जरूरी है। बिकॉज अगर मैं ये नहीं करती तो ये कॉन्फिडेंट ही नहीं होती कि मैं ट्रैवल कर सकती हूँ। टुडे शी ट्रैवल्स फ्रॉम वापी टू मुंबई एंड बैक होम, एंड दैट इज बिकॉज उसको मैंने वो अलाउ किया करना। तो आपको वो करना ही पड़ेगा। आप ये सोचोगे कि अरे वो नहीं कर पाएगा, तो वो नहीं कर पाएगा। यू हैव टू बी पॉजिटिव, यू हैव टू हैव कॉन्फिडेंस इन योर चाइल्ड कि अगर मैंने इसको सही तरीके से कोई चीज सिखाई तो वो कर लेगी।
Right. So, balancing the protection instinct with making sure that they learn to be independent. And once you see them being independent, I think automatically you see them as
Your
adults. I
job
think
is
that
done.
shift from
Your
child
job
to
as a
adult.
parent is done,
Yes.
right? Your job as a parent is done when you see them living independently and doing things because at the end of the day, this is what you want to do. This is
Right.
what you want, that your child has to be independent, can take their own decisions, and this is what we are training them for.
Right. Right.
And when you see that
Praveen,
happening,
yeah.
you
One
step
of the
back.
things, yeah, one of the things when we talk about dignity is that I'm sure you would have also faced it in when sometimes subtle or not so subtle ways. People do make, either assumptions about your child, or they show pity, or sometimes they, exclude. So when you have experienced this, how do you how do you handle it, and what has helped you protect your child's dignity in such situations?
Uh, I've been very loud about Vaidehi's disability. Publicly, socially, I have always talked about it. I've never had a hesitation to talk about it. And so is Vaidehi. She also never ever had this hesitation of telling people that, okay, I'm disabled and I'm fine with it. I have no problem. And so you should also not have any problem. When she used to travel to school and way back home, she used to take bus also as one of the modes of her transport. And in Bombay, there is a rule like you have to follow and the line and you follow the queue and you board from the back gate. She used to go and stand in the front gate and tell, I want to board the bus from here. And she was asked, why? You're supposed to follow the queue. And she was like, I'm disabled. I have, this is my right and I can board the bus from the front gate. So I was, and when I used to tell her, why do you need to tell people that you are disabled? It's okay. You follow the queue. Well, why not? If I am advantaged by that, why should I not talk about it? She took it so positively, and this is how I felt that when she is not hesitating to talk about it, why am I doing that? And I've always taken her to, she is highly social, highly social. Once she meets you, she will never forget you for lifetime. So when I've lived in a place for many years of my life where I was surrounded by family members, and we already always had one or the other event or function or celebration every next day. So for me, it would have been very difficult if I would have not taken her anywhere out. So I've always taken her out with me. I've always talked about her to my family, friends, people. There were times when people said, oh, she looks like this. Oh, she ये तो पागल है. इसको तो कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है. There were times. But then I feel at times it is necessary to keep quiet and let your actions speak. And this is what I answered them back, not verbally, but when Vedi started doing this and self educating about herself, and when she started attending and talking to people, my job was done. I never had to worry about her dignity. I never had to worry about her confidence. She waved that path for herself.
Right. It's amazing to hear both the stories that you both shared. And I think one of the most important skills as parents of children with disabilities we must develop in ourselves is advocacy, and for a person with disability themselves, which comes from acceptance, which both of you, have shared that, it happened early on for you, which helped you build those skills. So wonderful to hear that.
Acceptance is a key, because until and unless you accept, you will never be able to move ahead with them. Never.
Right.
We'll keep questioning the Lord, why me, why she, why he, all these things. And what will I do? My life is finished, her life is finished. No, you have to accept and you have to move on, because until and unless you do that, your child will never learn to do that.
Right.
So if you want your child to live independently after you, you have to accept and move ahead.
Right. So, Dr. Iravati, a question to you also, around dignity. Sometimes dignity means allowing the individual to make their own decisions, even if it's small decisions. So, how can professionals practice that when they are interacting with persons with ID? Dr. Iravati, you're there? Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So the professionals many a times are, not really using the proper language, or they are just looking at the child as a, as autism or cerebral palsy. But you should really look at them as an individual, and they have every individual has so many different aspects. So you should really respect them and treat them as equal, and you should explore what their strengths are, and think of what they want to do, what would be best for them, what are their what gives them joy, what will make them happier, and what do they want to pursue. So that is what the professionals should have, that angle also. Of course, use a more neuro-affirmative language. And for parents, I would say that we always see that whichever parent is most motivated and dedicated, that child does the best. Okay, irrespective of how many good professional people are working with the child, the parent has to be focused and dedicated. And I like where they said that the parent has to accept the child. Many a times parents come and say that my child is screaming public, what will they say? I mean, they are more worried about what the society is saying. If they are feeling that way, then naturally, how will change happen? So the parents have to accept, have to realize that some things are normal for my child, even they might not be a very normal in routine environment, but some things have to be accepted. Like if the child is excited and doing some hand flapping, but otherwise the child is well functional, having no issues, not troubling anyone, I would say that that's totally fine. So that level of acceptance has to come from for everyone, even the
Right.
professionals, the society, the teachers, and the parents also.
Yeah. So thank you for reiterating the point on acceptance by the parent, leading to better being able to advocate for your child, to support your child. And also that professionals also need to exhibit or include, uh, not talk down to the person that they are working with.
Right, right. And
So
many
yeah.
times parents restrict what I mean. They try to do everything for the child, and that's why the child is never taught things, or never given that independence, or never given that decision making. Even be it in smaller things, what the child wants to do, what the child wants to eat, etc. So to build confidence in that child, it should come from the parents itself. That they
Right.
should be confident that I have to I mean, let my child do this and he will be able to do it. So when you do that, naturally people around you also start to accept, also start to behave and look at you differently.
Right. So I'm mindful of time and I would like to leave some time for questions that people might want to ask Dr. Iravati or to Vaidehi or Pragati. So we'll move on to, questions that may have got asked in the chat or any that you might want to ask now to, any of them. I know one question came early on and that was from Mahima. It says, does aphasia after brain stroke fall in the category of ID? And how can people with aphasia be helped if at all they need special help? So this question I would point to you, Dr. Iravati, if you'd like to take that up.
So, see, it depends on what age you are, and it doesn't fall really in ID because aphasia is inability to communicate. It's more affecting your communication. Also, it might affect your language processing, etc. So, it depends whether the child has ID or he has ID with aphasia. So, those are two different things. So we need to work on, depending on the understanding of the child, we have different modalities to work with. And the speech therapist will anything to enhance the communication and expression. So using PECs or any augmentative methods can be used.
Right, thanks. So if there are any questions that you would like to ask our panelists, you can put the question in the chat or even unmute and ask. I would like to, give time for that because, we have their, you may have any very specific questions to them beyond what I may have asked. So feel free to please put that into the chat or unmute and ask. Okay, so Vinay Savla has asked, can you speak more on difference between a slow learner and someone with ID? And if I were to add to that, how different is ID and learning disability?
Okay. So slow learner is usually, if we speak of IQ values, so 90 to 110 IQ is said to be in a normal or average range where the child will be able to, go through the academic curriculum routinely. So below that, like around 75 to 85, you can say that the child is will take a little time and little bit more support to cope with the curriculum. So that is in the slow learner category. If the child's IQ level is below 70, then he has intellectual disability, and then he will not be able to cope at that curriculum age level curriculum. Okay, so he might be performing at a lower level for his age, and he will not be able to cope up with the age level curriculum.
So can you talk about learning
Yeah.
disability
Learning
and ID?
disability is basically, learning disability is diagnosed in children who have a normal IQ. I mean, in the normal or average range IQ. Okay, so their IQ levels are normal, but still they are not able to learn without support or have difficulties in their learning because they have dyslexia or dysgraphia. So there are difficulty in processing language, written language, heard language. There are difficulties in maths concepts, etc. So that is a different type of problem where your intelligence related to all other aspects apart from academic learning is usually very good. Okay, so the child is able to perform everything else, talking fluently, understanding everything, doing everything, has good knowledge, can speak very well, but still is like a smart looking kid, but still lagging in academics in spite of good support and help. And so that is the problem with learning disability.
Understood. Thank you, doctor. There is a question, I think it's for Vaidehi and Pragati. So Noor Afshan is asking that I see that Vaidehi was reading notes to answer the speaker. So she was somewhat prepared. How is her functional communication in daily routine? Pragati, would you want to answer
Yes,
that, or Vaidehi,
I'll
would you
answer.
want to answer that?
Yeah, yeah. She was actually prepared because she knew what she wanted to answer. It was all what she wanted to answer, and I just put it down in words for her because for her to face and to talk in that time frame would have been difficult. She would have taken a little longer to express what she wanted to talk about and say. So, in her daily routine, she is highly functional. She is thorough with her ADL activities. She can communicate well with everybody. She talks to her friends, to all her family members over the phone, and she is also she's also mindful about what she's talking and when she, though at times she does not talk relevant about, maybe we are talking about something and she will definitely peep in, but then will may not continue with the same relevance of the topic. But then she is highly communicative. She can converse, she can talk to you about everything when she knows. She is she's very interested in watching the cricket matches, and she is so excited about those matches right now. She visits the temple in our society. She goes down, she talks to people there, and everybody coming up telling me, "Oh, you don't know us, but we know her because she comes to the temple every day, and she is." We like her because she's so dedicated towards her routine or what she wants to do. She she's in communication with her friends on a daily basis. She's able to tell if she wants, if she doesn't like anything, if she does want something, she'll communicate to you in the right manner.
Right.
If I
Thanks.
may I add to that something to that? Am I allowed to
Yes.
in between?
Who's
Yeah. No, my name is Kashmira Wazimdar. I've worked with Vaidehi. So in terms of her communication, I would say yes, she has a mind of her own. She can speak very well. She has a good understanding of self-awareness, and she can say what she likes, dislikes. She has opinions. She can take part in a discussion. Yes, she may take a little time. It may take a little while to process the whole thing, but definitely her communication is very, very good. Just wanted to add.
Thank you for sharing that, Kashmira ji. And Melita has said, I really believe that whether he is a smart individual because when she came prepared to talk when time is of an essence and collecting thoughts takes time on a platform. So yeah, even I have notes, by the way. Even I sometimes read from my notes. We all do. It helps us prepare. So yes, it's a smart way to come to talks like this. There was
Kashmira
one
ma'am,
question.
thank you so much. Thank you
Most
so much for being here.
best wishes to both of you.
Thank you so
There was
much,
one
ma'am.
Thank you,
question
ma'am.
from Vinay Savla to Dr. Iravati. Is there a right age for IQ testing?
So you can do IQ testing from 3 years onwards also, and depending on how the child is able to respond or not respond, we will choose the type of test that we want to do. Only thing is that we should be aware why we are really looking at the IQ. Do we really need to do a IQ at that level, or I mean, what is the reason why we are doing the IQ? So when we are doing the IQ because the child has a learning difficulty, we want to find out whether IQ is in the average range and he has a learning disability. That is the reason. Or if at 6 years down the line or ahead, if there are concerns in school and the school wants to know really what is the functioning, or over time you want to really compare what the child has progressed from his previous to the next, etc. So that is the time you really can think of doing IQ, but it could be done depending on verbal and routinely. It could even be done at 3 years of age when the child can communicate. Yeah.
Right. So if there are no other questions I see in the chat, I would like to kind of ask some wrap-up questions. And firstly, to Pragati, we all, if we look to the future, you also mentioned you want to prepare for a time when you are not there. So what kind of support systems should family be thinking of? What can they start building? Do you have any sort of practical recommendations of, say legal guardianship or financial planning, anything that you have done in that regard?
To be very honest, until now, I have not gone into any legal or financial
Okay. Yeah.
matters. But yes, what I'm trying to look for Vaidehi is knowing her strengths. I feel she can definitely do a very good job with children. She is highly commanding, and she loves to be with children. She's very happy to be with children. So when I see her interest in that, though she has done a course in office procedures in the school, but when I see her interest lies in being around with children, taking care of them, handling them, she manages them well. So I feel that when I see her interest, I would like to proceed further with her interest in whatever makes her happy, and would allow her. Maybe I'll try to create a platform for her where she can do what she likes. And I've had as far as her working out somewhere is concerned, I feel self employment would be a better option for her, and maybe for children who are with ID or with LDs.
Right. And I think what one thing that comes out is that identify their strengths, identify their interest areas, see what you can do
Absolutely.
around it, and see if that can become a productive skill for them to, sort of last their life.
One thing that I have learned in my journey is we cannot enforce things that we want her to do. We
Yeah.
have to, that is, I think we cannot do with any child anymore. But with her, with Vaidehi, we have always tried to find out that where her interest lies. And we have had a very long journey of going to the mainstream school, then going for a vocational course, and now we're trying to do something, try something which is not at all falls in the entire journey. But I believe when we want to see her happy, and this is what is going to make her happy, we will proceed further with that. So my take on this for any parent: look for the interest in your child and then move ahead with whatever the child is happy to do with.
Right. So one last question to wrap it all up. I think we are bang on time as well. So Vaidehi, that is to you. What makes you excited about growing up and being an adult? What do you hope your life will look like? And what are some things that you worry about?
What makes me excited is excited about growing up is the feeling of being more independent. I like going out with my friends and family. I love being with children, take good care of them. Parents leave their children with me and go. So I wish to work in a Montessori or a place where there are children. I also dream of having my own small house. I don't worry about anything because God is with me.
That's really nice to hear, and all the best to you, Edehi. It was so wonderful to hear about your journey, Pragati, your journey with Vedahi. It was filled with so much wisdom, so much insight. Your reflections have all helped us learn so much more. And of course, thank you so much to Dr. Iravati as well, for all the facts and what you shared, the information that we all need to know about. So, with that, we'll wrap up this panel discussion. I hope it was enlightening for you as much as it was for me. And I, go with so much more respect and some inspiration that I take from Vedahi. Um, so, once I think our team members have shared a feedback link in the chat. Request all of you to please give your feedback before you leave this meeting. We have come to the end of this session, but please leave your feedback before you exit. And in that, please also mention what other topics we can cover in future such sessions. Of course, tell us about how this session was for you. And I think from the comments, you can tell whether how much people enjoyed this session and how much they learned from Pragati and Iravati as well. So, thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Smita, for
For inviting
conducting
me,
this.
and it was really great. And
Yeah,
I'm very happy to listen to Vaidehi and Pragati. And she has
yeah.
done such a great job, and it's quite inspirational. Very happy.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'm
And I
so
hope
happy that everybody has
see so
taken
many
out time to be here,
doing that.
time to listen to what we are saying. And
Yeah.
it definitely is a learning for us also, because it is never a full stop for learning. And for me and Vede, we have to, it's still a long journey. We still need to work out and do a lot of things. And thank you so much for your blessings and wishes, everybody.
Thank you
Thank you.
to the panelists. And see, if we had only a doctor or a professional, it would have been such a dry session. It would have been only question and answers. Or I think it
Yes,
was
yes.
brought so much, insight was brought out by having the family here. Yeah, so thank you once again.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I I am going to take a picture of all of us. So I request you all to smile.
Thank you, Edahi and her
Thank
mother. Thank you very much. And God bless you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, and those of you who are leaving, please do once again reminding you to fill out the uh, feedback form before you leave. I know people have plans. So Dr.
Thank you
Iravati,
so much,
Vaidehi,
ma'am.
Pragati, if you all have to be elsewhere, you can as well leave the meeting. I will
Yes.
just
Sure.
remove the spotlight from all of us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
We are very thankful for all of you giving your
Thank
time and sharing all your
you.
insights so generously. Thank you, Dr. Iravati, Vaidehi,
You
Pragati.
all are doing a great job at Umeed, and thank you for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to connect with all of you. Thank you
Yeah,
so
and
much.
Dr. Iravati, we'd like to connect with you later as well for how we can collaborate with more things we can do with the Jayavakil families as well.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
So I'm going to be here till people are able to complete their feedback form. For those of you who attended and shared your feedback, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being part of this session as well.
Ma'am, form link.
Link is there in the chat
या
box. अगर आप
मैं
देखेंगे एक बार फिर हम डाल देते हैं वहां
या
पर.
मैं एक बार फिर से डाल रही हूँ लिंक.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
वैसे ही आप देख रहे हैं कितना आपके लिए कमेंट्स आ रहे हैं. प्लीज डू रीड, डोंट लीव.
I'm so glad that people have really been patient and been there for the entire session, and they've
Yeah, no,
shown so much of.
it was so enriching. It was so interesting to listen to both of you and to Dr. Iravati.
Yeah,
Ma'am, can
absolutely.
I just say something before I leave?
Yes, please.
I'm a special educator, ma'am, working in Chennai. Actually, I really enjoy the session. I wait for meet the expert sessions. I really like when the person who's actually facing some issues and how they actually go about handling and how they cope up. And I really like when the parents also speak about it and with the support they give. I really wait for such sessions and I really enjoyed it. Okay, and I learned a lot. That's actually more important because certain doubts and all it was clarified. Now I can actually be more confident in handling parents and children. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Asma. Thank you,
Thank
Asma.
you so much.
तो जिन लोगों ने फीडबैक भर लिया है, आप मीटिंग लीव कर सकते हैं. एक कमेंट क्वेश्चन है कि डॉक्टर इरावती को कैसे रीच आउट कर सकते हैं. आई विल आस्क हर इफ I think if you Google her, you will get her clinic and all her wherever she does her OPDs in Wadia Hospital, in I think Reliance Foundation Hospital in Jayavakil. She's attached there, as well as she has her own clinic in Chowpatty. आप Google करेंगे तो आपको मिल जाएगा उनका contacts.
Would wait for next such session where I can be a audience and I can be listening to people's experiences.
Sure, sure. So, अगर कोई फीडबैक लिख रहा है तो हम 1-2 मिनट और वेट करेंगे, उसके बाद हम ये सेशन एंड कर देंगे। तो रिक्वेस्ट कि आप थोड़ा जल्दी लिख लीजिए, कंप्लीट कर लीजिए। Okay, so we'll end this session. Once again, Pragati, thank you so much for coming in at the last minute and filling in this space. And Vaidehi, thank you for
Absolutely my pleasure, Smita. I'm so glad I was here for the first time ever, but I'm glad
yeah,
I did. And I'm
yeah,
sorry, my sincere apologies if I've not been giving you the right answers to any questions or any queries.
no, we'll hope to stay in touch and maybe have you
Definitely, yes.
in many other
Definitely.
ways as well. Okay, so I'm
Sure.
ending the session. Thank you everybody for joining
Thank you
us
so
and thank you for the feedback that you gave us as well. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Smita.